everyone. I thought we'd have a short walkthrough and look at plants as they emerge out of the ground in relationship to each other so as to be able to share light and grow strongly together. But first I wanted to say, boy, I'm really excited. It seems like it's going to rain tonight. We haven't had hardly any rain the month of April. A few showers, but nothing that's soaked in. So let's go for this short walk, and these will be a few minutes to share with each other. But let's take a look at some of the plants in my evaluation garden. This is geranium ibericum, and you see how geranium ibericum is moundy, and right now it's about 8 inches tall, and right next to it is the vertical growing Echinacea purpurea. It's a hybrid, so it has narrower foliage, but you see how they have about 6 inches in between them. And the geranium, the mounding plant growth and the vertical plant growth, they'll grow together. The geranium will flower in probably 3 weeks or less, and will still be moundy, but another 6 inches taller. The Echinacea, on the other hand, will keep growing upright and have the ability to collect foliage as the geranium foliage grows and touches the Echinacea. And you see that gap? That'll fill together in about 2.5 to 3 weeks. You won't see soil there. And right on the other side of that is Levisticum scoticum. And that has mounding foliage, a vertical growth habit, and mounding, but it lets light through it. You can see the extension of the leaves and the stems. So because it lets light through it, it will share light with the Echinacea right next to it as it's emerging. So each plant can collect light, remain strong, grow active, yet cover these bare spots right here. And there's a little seedling of Carex muskingomensis that we'll probably hoe out. We haven't been in this garden doing any hoeing. And there's a little seedling of a hypericum seedling. I think it's, I'm not sure which hypericum. So, but it's a little hypericum. This used to be the spotted one, spotted hypericum. I can't remember the species. But I just wanted to show you it's a sharing of light as the plants grow together. So again, it's sharing light, geranium ibericum, about 6 inches. The Echinacea will grow vertical, keep collecting light. The mounding of the geranium ibericum, the bloom time is early June. And then the open growth of the foliage of Levisticum scoticum, and that will let light through it, and that'll get tall and a little looser. And all three of these will blend together in a healthy way, sharing light. Yet the important part is covering the earth by early June to cut the foot candles of light below 1,500 foot candles of light. And below that, weed seeds won't germinate, agricultural weed seeds. So we'll keep the garden kind of weed free from early June through the rest of the year. So it's all about collecting light and keeping a plant strong, and how each plant is in cooperation with another. It's about relationships. Isn't that what everything's about? Developing communication with each other and creating relationships. Well, here's a little more violent combination of aggressive plants that we would consider aggressive. This is the native Galium boreal, and it spreads by short rhizomes. And you can see the space it takes up and how it's crowding into each other. You can see it spreading out to the side here. But it's in competition with Susanella inflexus, which is a very rapid spreading plant with very attractive white flowers in late summer. Beautiful, it looks like little white marbles floating above the earth. And the Susanella and the Galium boreal, you see how they collide? They both inhibit each other from running into each other, but yet one will slowly mingle. See this Galium mingling into a weak spot at the Susanella. So when you put these two together, they will inhibit each other from spreading over each other. They'll just collide, and then you can do some thinning. That's called gardening, if you feel like it, when the time is right. And there's a geranium pratense seeding into it, so you can allow for some dynamics. See the geranium pratense seeding into the Susanella? So when it gets its foliage, which it will, above the Susanella inflexa, it will be able to collect light and have a good life. And it's also, you can see the two Echinaceas, they will get their foliage again above the Susanella and be able to collect light. There's actually 3 Echinaceas there, and they will remain healthy. So again, as I mentioned earlier, it's all about light collection. And then collision, how they collide with each other to inhibit each other from spreading and taking over the area. So again, that's Galium boreal. See it moving in? Look at that. but it's going to hit the Susanella and Flexa and stop, or maybe mingle in a little bit, but not too much. All right, just another advantage, a little more aggressive plants colliding with each other, and a little bit of gardening to keep them under control. It's just being observant, being aware, and being consistent with your practices. And that's cool, and that's having fun too. Well, here's another example of the competitive nature of plants. This planting is going to its 4th year, and you see the geranium sanguineum, the way it runs by short woody rhizomes, it collides with the Stachys humula, but the crown of the Stachys humula stops the woody rhizomes of the geranium sanguineum. And then there's Aster tinitheo. Aster tinitheo pushes with strong rhizomes into the center of plants. So this we have to thin a little bit. You can see it spreading into the geranium sanguineum. But the cool part is the geranium sanguineum, the foliage will get above the foliage of tinitheo and be able to collect light and maintain a strong habit. It's the crown that will get crowded out a little bit, and we just thin that with some momentary gardening. And here's the Stachys humula. We have about 6 inches of space, 7 between it, and what's going to be creeping into that is Aster twilight. It's a hybrid between I think 2 native asters, Macrophylla and Speciosa, or I think Speciosa, I'm not sure. But it's Aster twilight, and you see the rhizomes, it sends, it's going into the small sedum here. Well, these rhizomes then will spread towards the Stachys, and this plant is more upright as an aster and allows light to the mounding Stachys. So it's a very compatible planting with space in between. If I was an alert gardener, I'd have this filled with bulbs right now, little tiny daffodils. So being that I'm not an alert gardener, I didn't put bulbs in here, but I could. So that's cool, the competitive nature of plants, how they can cooperate with each other. And then through gardening, we can keep the competitive edge happy and have fun doing it. All right, everybody, have fun. Enjoy your time in the garden. We'll talk some more. See you later.